Probably my earliest memory of drag racing would be back in Castlereagh days, obviously when my dad had his. I don't really remember the Red Devil, but I do remember his Altered that he had, and obviously Graham's funny cars that he was racing at the time. I was just a rat bag back then, you know, kicking around the dirt and not really interested that much in the cars, but was part of it. I just remember sitting on the side of the fence there, and a little kid, you know, the fence would have been this high, and chin on the fence just watching the cars go down the racetrack. What I do remember as a kid was being on the start line at the last race at Castlereagh and everyone attacking the start line with axes, and being a kid I had to get the biggest bit and take it home and sit it on the cupboard. It was, you know, this was from Castlereagh, but yeah, it was all about fun back then. Driving Psycho for, you know, my godparents, Graham and Wendy, it's, that car to them means the world. So when you get given that opportunity to drive something like that, you know, it is an honour. They've grown up together and they've done drag racing even before I was born. They'd travelled here, travelled there, and you know, on open trailers, not as lucky as what we are today to have all these big semi-trailers with, you know, race cars in them and lounge rooms and all that sort of stuff. Like they'd done it on a bare budget back in the day, and it's a tribute to everybody, you know, at Rocket and Aeroflow that have made this possible. I do remember sitting down at the dinner table and Dad would always get out the photo albums once I was old enough and I had my licence, and this is what I'd done back then and this is how fast it went. When you drive these cars today and you see what they raced back then, it gives you a whole different respect level for the cars that they raced back then. But the Red Devil back then was a FJ Holden, and yeah, it was Mum and Dad's pride and joy. It started off just as a normal street car, and again the same as what I did when I was young. He did, you know. It started off I think with a 6-cylinder in it, then it got a small box Chev in it with a blower on it, and yeah, it just never ends. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have that drag racing gene in me. I suppose if you're a kid and your dad's a golfer, you're going to want to go play golf, follow your dad, but I was lucky enough to have my dad go drag racing. As a tribute to Dad, you know, like 12 months ago was when we first brought this car out at this event, so it was good to have it there and have him at the race and, you know, see me in the car that he named the Red Devil back in the 70s, so it was pretty good.
The Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Car Circus returns to Sydney Dragway after an epic round at Calder Park, particularly for this man, the dark horse, Paul Messinio. Paul, well done. What an emotional win for you and the team.
Thanks, mate. It was an emotional win. You know, the guys have been working so hard, the whole team, and just, you know, finally get a win after all these years. You know, we've had a win before, but it's taken a while.
Talk us through the event. It wasn't without its hiccups along the way.
Yeah, the first round it sort of shook and had the pedal, and you know, we had Rick on the first round. We know how tough he is, and when I saw him cross that centre line, I thought, cool, we dodged the bullet there.
You can feel a sense of excitement, Paul, with the series, can't you, around the country? Fans are flocking to it.
Oh, it just seems to be getting better and better. You know, the crowd seems to appreciate it. You see the kids, they've got a big smile on their face. We're signing autographs left, right and centre. It's just, it really is, it's going from strength to strength.
What gears between you and Beggs? Anthony Begley, you two are like, I don't know, how do you describe it? You describe it for me.
Oh, I don't know, me and Beggs, we're always serving each other, playing practical tricks, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know, we just get along. It's just one of them things. It's easy to get along with and easy to stir.
You climbed the top of the heap last time. What's the agenda here in Sydney for you?
Mate, we're going to try and take another one. That's our aim. You know, we're pretty confident. We're feeling relaxed. You know, we've got all the goods. So hopefully we can get to number one.
Going to be mid, going to be fast, because that is what the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars are all about. Down comes the body on the beach bomb, making an East Coast appearance all the way from Perth. And Wade Onger, he has drawn something of the short straw here, Andrew Catavardis, because he's up against a very fired up Shane Olive in the Red Devil.
You know, I would have said that prior to our last round at Calder Park, to be honest with you, Chad, I would have said, you know what, line up against any of these guys, you're going to have your work done. But we saw so many upsets in the previous round. I don't think there's any such thing as an easy or hard round these days in this series.
Short business-like burnout for the beach bomb. Shane Olive stretching his car all the way out to 60 foot. Well, it is summertime after all. The beach bomb.
The last name and the beach concept is a bit of a mismatch, isn't it? It's kind of interesting. Great looking car. If this is your first time watching this show or being at this circuit for this series, you're in for a treat, because it is about stars and cars, and star cars.
And a couple of families here as well, Wade, that are no strangers to the drag strip. We heard in the opener today about Shane Olive and his family, but the same goes for Catavardis over there in WA as well. His father getting him into the sport, coming up the ranks through an altered as well. But gee, this is going to be a tough ask to knock off the Red Devil. 3 points up for grabs here.
Expected the result, but I didn't expect it to be so close. Well done, the Devil. A 403 km/h run at 582, but the Beach Bomb, he was hanging 10 in that. That wasn't bad.
Beach Bomb putting out a cylinder at half track up the right bank of that motor. You could just see it start to get a little bit cloudy there. Gee, a lot of clutch dust inside these cars as they scream on through 400 km/h. Well, we're racing here in Sydney. Sun is shining, nitro is flowing. Plenty more to go on the other side of this. Sydney Dragway, home of the first ever Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Car Show 3 years ago, and here we are once again. Just about perfect conditions for drag racing. And I speak of that first ever event, and it was Nitro Express in the hands of Rick Dorsey that won it back in 2013.
Yeah, whatever happened to that guy? Will he be any good one day? Daniel Schultz in the General and Rick Dorsey in Nitro Express. And safe to say that Dorsey probably coming back to Sydney and wanting a bit of redemption, because Calder Park was not his best result either.
There is the man himself, Graham Cowan, putting the lid down on the roof. Team go to work to show Rick that the throttle stop's been taken off the right-hand side of the motor that they use in the burnout. Saw a lot of clutch dust in that first pass for Shane Olive. I just wonder if it's because the temperature has dropped here quite a lot in this first round already. And if that can happen, I'm hearing as much as 13 degrees less track temperature out there. These cars can really drive through the clutch, so that would explain all that clutch dust. How cool is the General? I can see you ogling that thing right next to me right now.
Yeah, there is no doubt. We are here at Hazard County, a.k.a. Sydney Dragway. The General up against Nitro Express. There's no eliminations. It's the Chicago shootout style. You see every car in every pass. Oh. Out of the hole. That's a great win.
Nice. A 570. It laboured down the track a bit too. Exactly what we were talking about earlier. Gee, a couple of Dukes of Hazzard style jumps there as well in the braking area as Schultz was getting that car pulled up. Great reaction time too for Dorsey. We didn't see a single sub 0.1 reaction time recently at Calder. That's the first one we've seen in some time. That's how violent these cars are inside.
General was quicker with the overall speed, but it didn't matter. It was won at the lights. Every car is just eye candy, isn't it, in this series? Now you're going to throw a bit of a Burt Reynolds reference in as well, because there is the Bandit, just missing the Band 1 Night number plate, so it probably even has those. Great battle coming up here. Darren Fry, he can knock anybody off at any given time. And speaking of which, how about his run at Calder Park?
Yeah, both these guys coming off pretty good events, particularly Paul Messinio in the Dark Horse getting the win, only the second win in his career in the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars. Trans Am versus Mustang 2. A couple of famous brands going to battle here, either side of the stripe. Both drivers desperately want the 3 points out of this first round matchup.
Gorgeous day for drag racing. Not a cloud in the sky, not overly hot to the point where you could be chasing horsepower all day. Dark Horse in the right lane as we look down the strip, the Bandit. And we are eastbound and down, ready for this one. Where the revs come down and then all hell breaks loose. Good night.
Good night indeed. The Bandit 578 puts away the Dark Horse nice and early. That was not a good run for Paul Messinio, not the way he wanted to kick off the event after a win recently. There was just no stopping the Bandit. Plenty of clutch dust again, though. Conditions catching one or two of these Nitro teams out.
I always love that shot. Is the Bumblebee the most improved driver in Australian drag racing right now? I think so.
Yeah, Jake Donnelly's the man behind the wheel.
He
Young
just looks
Queenslander.
mean, doesn't it? Actually, they both have that similar body styling, and they just look sick. That wasn't the biggest, longest burnout in the planet, was it?
But backdraft, we're checking out there, up against Jake Donnelly in the Bumblebee. He's got the wiggles on at the end of the burnout, something we did see quite a lot of, actually, at Calder Park.
Speaking of the wiggles, you haven't got the big red car. That's about where the references end, though, I would say.
I know we've got a lot of the older style bodies out there, you know, those Mach 1s and Trans Ams that remind people of drag racing back in the 60s and 70s, but these body styles, this reminds me of growing up and going to racetracks like Ravenswood. These 90s style bodies, very retro indeed. And this young man is getting faster and faster.
Yeah, and his confidence is growing as well. He knows he can knock off the big guns in this. This is a chance, you would think, for Bumblebee to consolidate. Is there a round one win here or will Warford? Oh, he was tied to the tree. Bumblebee is out of here.
Nice pass for Donnelly. It's a 585 too, so the speed is there. Just under 400 k's an hour.
Get it stopped, get it stopped.
I think he's pretty happy with himself down there.
Just makes you wonder what happened with backdraft just then. Did not get off the line well. Seemed to hose a bit of fuel as well.
Gee, Let's Boogie's not wasting time. In comes Justin Walsh off the long run-up.
Yes. Bit of Michael Holding, mate.
Should get a slow clap going for him maybe in the next race.
Greg Lay in Stormtrooper. We have got every iconic movie car here today. This is like Hollywood on Nitro.
Justin Walsh picked up a win over in Perth recently, but had some engine dramas at Willowbank and has been fiddling with the tune-up ever since. Hasn't quite got it right. Back to a track where he's got a lot of data to read from. Very familiar surface here, so he should be back to his best. Is it my eyes or is that car facing left as it stages? Don't be surprised if the Stormtrooper goes to the centre line here. There you go, just a half track, has to straighten it back up, but will take the win anyway. Good drag race. 598, the Stormtrooper gets the job done and puts one on Let's Boogie, puts 3 points in the bag.
You got to love it when you make a comment like that, Chad, and they come good on you, don't you? Because you led with it big time then. And he did wander a bit, actually. He went to the centre and then he bent out to the right by the end of it. And here is one bad Kiwi, Morris McMillan, up against the Fuchs Flyer. First time we've seen the Fuchs Flyer. Dan Donnelly.
Well, I'll tell you what, Morris McMillan would be licking his chops here, and that's chops, not chips, because this is finally a stroke of luck for him. He always draws a really tough first-round matchup. This is random draw, but he's got himself a rookie here, but it's a rookie tuned by Aaron Hambridge, a very clever mind when it comes to Nitro, so it will not be an easy win in the Fuchs Flyer in that other lane, but one bad Kiwi will be thinking this is 3 points he should get.
The very much better part of Morris, his lovely wife, just setting the idle just then. He comes into stage, up against the Flyer. Not much in it at the lights, but the Kiwi is down the guts and gone. Morris McMillan, one bad Kiwi, gets the win, a 384.607. That's a strong run for the Flyer too.
Just watching the Flyer on this replay, it looks like half track right there. You see that raw nitro coming out of those header pipes, so unfortunately not the run that he would have been looking for, but a good confidence booster for the rookie. Unfortunately, he only gets the 1 point for a loss. It's McMillan who takes the 3. Good skids, side-by-side burnouts.
A couple of the real American graffiti style looking bodyworks here. You talked about that nostalgia look before. This is a great example of it. I'm sure Harold Campbell's watched American graffiti a few times. And Anthony Begley, one of the most experienced guys in a Nitro funny car situation.
WA versus Queensland on the grid here. Insanity being the East Coast representation. Love the blue eyes.
Listen how chunky that sounds.
LA Hooker ran here in the first ever event back in 2013 in the hands of Ron Katz, if you don't mind.
No way. Bit of drag racing royalty there.
Wait for the pre-stage bulb to go on. They now need to move another 7 inches forward to find the full stage beams. Look at the fuel for LA Hooker. This thing looks stout. Well, it puts out a cylinder straight away, but so too does Insanity. A couple of V7s going down the racetrack, and it's a 607 for LA Hooker that gets the job done.
607 on a 7-cylinder run isn't too bad either.
Oh,
Yeah.
that let go in a big way. Maybe just watch the left-hand side. Bang, big explosion underneath Insanity. From inside the car, lots of clutch dust. But the first round is down, still 2 to go here at Sydney Dragway.
Knocking off the king off his little mountain. Dark Horse down. Well done, Darren Fry. Great result.
Yeah, no, it was a good result. Last minute we tried to put the Dark Horse back in the Melbourne Cup, but he put us back on the trail and sent us home. So third time lucky, we got him on the end of the trap, so it was good.
So the Chev is back in a big bad way. You were the top ET performer in the first round.
Yeah, no, she's back all right. We had a few gremlins through the year, but yeah, we've got it all together now. She's on song.
That said, good ET, but the speed down a little, 239.
I rolled off a little bit, to tell you the truth. We had a lot of clutch dust coming through because the track cooled down like 15 to 20 degrees before we ran. We couldn't do a clutch change. So I had all this clutch dust going in, thinking engine or clutch. I thought, I'll just roll off a bit, and that's what's happened.
And you had the money in the bank anyway, so that's a good sign for ET.
We took a little risk.
Yeah, it looks like we had a flash fire. It's banged a blower and dropped a valve, I think, by looking at it so far. Everything was checked over. It had all new parts in it, ready for this meeting, and something's gone wrong. We've got to get to the bottom of it and find out what it is. And
Well, a win in a squeaker of a race in the first round, but Greg, it looks like you've got a bit of work with the Stormtrooper.
Yeah, we're really happy with the win. And to duke it out with Justin, our old sparring partner, was just fantastic. Like, chalk one up for the old boy. But yeah, we've hurt the engine a little bit, and we're just trying to work out if we're going to be able to make it to the next round.
Nitro Funny Car is crazy. You can't beat it. They're an animal on their own. They're undescribable. They're mental.
Funny Car is one ride you'll never forget.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've raced each other. Back in the sort of junior dragster days, we used to battle it out a bit, and yeah, so it's been a little while. I quite like Sydney. It's a good track. I've always had pretty good success here in anything we've raced. Like it's an awesome track, and hopefully, yeah, the car will be fast, so it should be good. Weather's good, and ready to spank the fly. In Cairns we come third, Calder we come second, so there's only one more on the podium to go, and hopefully, yeah, we can keep our form up and go for that number one. Yeah, just getting the head around the car and everything. Graham's getting his head around the tune, and we've got a data log on the car now, so there's a pretty good window into what's going on, and it gives you information of what the car's doing, basically, you know, wheel speed, engine RPM, what each exhaust temperature is, and things like that. So basically, you can tell what everything's doing. So
If he gets off it early.
yeah,
Does he do that?
yeah. Just not showing you all the cards I've got. I'm going to spank him, I know that much. All he's going to see is tail lights from one end to the other.
It's on. He's going to see my tail lights, and I've got a bigger fuel tank, so we can play games.
The Donnellys are a likeable family. So we get set for the second round. Gee, the first round had some monster matchups, and these two have squared off again.
I feel like I should be laying under a palm tree watching that thing.
Drinking out of a coconut. Here comes the Red Devil. Got 3 points over Andrew Cadavadas in the beach bomb last time. He'll try and really double up on this pass.
That doesn't happen very often, does it, where you see these guys match up consecutively like that?
Yeah. Well, we've moved recently into, instead of running the fastest versus slowest guys in the second round, now we do a random draw for both rounds 1 and 2.
Cadavadas must have been like, for real? The devil again?
So everyone's had the chance here now to have a look at these track conditions and tune accordingly. There was no doubt that it was a little bit cooler than they were expecting. Now we know where the track is at. I think we'll see some more aggressive clutch tune-ups, should lead to faster times. There goes Michael Marriott in the background, very good tuner for naturally aspirated cars. He's going to avoid your discovery here with his son learning Nitro to help tune the Catavatas family. Here we go, round 2.
Oh,
Bang!
The beach bomb has gone bang. Olive will streak down the line and wrap it up with a 572 at over 403 kilometres an hour.
That was strange. I've never seen that burst panel come off the body like that before without the entire engine going with it. It was still under full power. It's almost like it came off through the sheer shock of going up into tyre smoke. Either way, 3 points to Olive on that one. So he goes through with a perfect 6 and he's in contention for a Rocket Trophy later today.
Dark Horse proving he can be exactly that after our quarter park round, the previous round in Victoria. And he's constantly in a source and sense of Movember. Is Massinio with that dirty big Mo. Very chopper, isn't it?
Now, Wade, both these drivers come into round 2 on just the one solitary point because they both lost in their first round. That doesn't mean that they won't go home without a trophy, but they need to win now to have a chance at a trophy. A win and a loss in rounds 1 and 2 can leave you with an outside shot at maybe finishing 3rd. But with 14 cars here today, I wouldn't be surprised if we've got quite a few drivers that head through on the maximum points later.
You would back Massinio just on current form after the previous round here, but this is the beauty of Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro. Funny cars, anything can happen. That's a good light from Donnelly, and he's going to put away Massinio.
Oh, started to wander over to the wall with a hole out the right-hand side. 588. That'll be a beautiful feeling for Dan Donnelly to get 3 points for the Lamartina family. Huge run. Had to drive that thing too in the deep end.
I think Massinio had him, Chad. I think early, he was really going to have to pull out something miraculous to run him down. But in the end, he didn't have to. Justin Walsh comes out up against the Bumblebee. This guy has been on a mission. Donnelly at Calder Park was sensational. Really has been building towards something.
Well, he's just seen his brother pick up a handy chunk of points. As Let's Boogie gets set to make another big run. He missed out on the points earlier, so he'll be very hungry for 3 points in this run.
Cool shot. Not a cloud in the sky here in Sydney. We're just down the road from the world headquarters of Rocket and Aeroflow. Literally, you could almost throw a supercharger belt over to where the business is located in Huntingwood. And certainly this series travels the entire country. It's a good light for Donnelly. And it's OVER. Donnelly hammers another one home. A 584 at 403 k's an hour.
Man, this young Queenslander is flying this weekend. Huge run. Goes through to the final round on 6 points. And that was impressive. Fast times, side-by-side drag races. The Nitro is in the sky here at Sydney. More to come after this. The visor goes down.
Reminds you of the old jet pilot scene in Top Gun on the aircraft carrier.
Ready to get into some more round 2 action. Morris McMillan and one bad Kiwi ready. And the Bandit. So, 2 drivers that did pick up the 3 points in today's earlier action.
Now, if McMillan was able to pick up the win here, this will be the first time I can remember he's had 2 consecutive round wins. So this would be a big step up for McMillan in that one bad Kiwi car. The bad news is the Bandit is in good form. So this is a juicy proposition here in Sydney.
So both Olive and Jake Donnelly are on 6 points. And that leaves you in the best position to win. You cannot win the event unless you pick up these round wins nice and early and are on maximum points. Both these drivers know the scenario, just making some adjustments to those wheelie bars. You need them to be at the perfect height because when these cars launch, they will go all the way back and strike that little wheel helps to manage the weight of the car.
So much to love about this series. McMillan furthest from camera, Fry closest. The right-hand lane as you look down the Aeroflow lane against the Rocket lane. Can McMillan bag 2 in a row? With a light like that, he probably can. Good night! The Kiwi can fly! First time that I've seen him do it, back to back, and what a run that was.
Well, one bad Kiwi, one fast Kiwi. He just went 400 clicks and goes through to round 3 on the maximum 6 points. So he'll be feeling absolutely electrified down there in the deep end. It's looking very good for them indeed. Another case of history repeating here.
Yeah, it's very rare that you see this. There's no eliminations as such the way we run this series, so if you're a fan sitting in the stands or here on telly, you get to see every car every time. And Rick Gorsey, this guy is a machine in that Nitro Express car. You very rarely see him get taken care of. Having said that, let me say this. The bloke in the left-hand lane's looking pretty stout as well.
Well, these two put on the quickest side-by-side run in that first round of racing, so glad to see them back again. Gorsey won 570 over the 584 for Schultz in the general. Looking to join the 3 drivers that have already gone through on 6 points, as Graham Cowan says. Little more, little more.
It's very rare you see that actually, Graham Cowan in a black shirt. On the quarter mile, set to run here at Sydney. He just loves it, doesn't he? Just
very hands-on.
Loves it. It's loud, it's angry, it's violent, and he wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Oh, straight down the middle. Gorsey says good night.
Gee, just opened the door up at the end. Low speed only, I say only 300 kilometres per hour. What happened here for Rick Gorsey? He got the points. Let's have a look here. Oh, it spiked in the RPM. Either really went into wheel spin or maybe could have broken a gearbox and jumped back down to first gear. Very rare that happens, but the way the RPM went up like that, he had no choice but to shut it off. Lucky to go through with the points.
But straight down the middle. I haven't seen a car down the guts like that so far today. So there's that to take from it. The setup and the way the car handled was on the money. Now, Wolford, a disappointing run in the first round, so he needs to step things up. LA Hooker, a chance here to consolidate.
Yeah, Anthony Begley just fell short of getting into the 5s earlier today with a 607. These conditions really nice right now.
Yeah, just cooled off a bit now. The dusk in the afternoon here at Sydney Dragway. You're watching the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars. Bang onto Facebook, Google them, get across it. There's plenty of amazing images. And the hooker right down the middle as well. Trouble again for Wolford. Hooker runs a 597 at 383 k's an hour. Forget that part of it. There is 3 points badly needed.
Right now, it's time to catch up with the man who drives the Beach Bomb.
Graham Cowan, Maurice McMillan, Shane Olaf, they've been so supportive of what we're doing. We're a long way away over in Perth, but all 3 of them, they're a phone call away. We need a little bit of help, bit of guidance. They're there on the phone. Graham's offered multiple times, look, leave the car at my house, not even at the race shop, but maybe his personal house. He's been so supportive of what we're trying to do over in Perth, a long way away. We're really new to this Nitro thing, and he knows that. And it's not just us. He supports all the little privateers. You know, he wants this thing to work, and he wants to put a show on for the crowd and bring new people into the sport. On the Beach Bomb, we've got a bit of a co-crew chief sort of deal happening. We've got Michael Marriott and James Rowland, the 2 guys we go to for all our advice. Michael does a lot more of the computer side, and James is more like a car chief to us. They work off each other. James is quite young, and he's done a lot of work with the Nitro cars. He's done a lot of work with alcohol cars as well. Whereas Michael's sort of done a lot more pro stock sort of stuff. But together, these two, just the methodical approach that these two have to putting these cars down the track is just incredible. you sit next to them when they're in the trailer just talking after a run, and these two, they can basically tell you what's happened before they even download the data off the logger. And just they work so well together. James has got this approach, brings Michael's approach in, and together they put an incredible tune up into this car. We've done 10 runs in a row now, every time it's gone down the track. Not even a hint of not going down. Since the Perth round, we've upgraded the car. We just modernised the car and really taken it more to where some of Graham's cars are in respect to some of the mechanical parts that are on it. We're having a bit of a drum with some piston scuffing issues, and we've talked to a lot of people, a lot of smart nitro tuners in Australia, which have been really good to talk to, and they've really come on board, just giving us hints and techniques and things to try. So we went out, we bought the big 34-gallon pump. We were running a 24-gallon pump, so an extra 10 gallons of fuel, which is a huge amount of fuel. New oil pump as well, and a new set of cylinder heads, an upgraded set of cylinder heads with all fresh gear through them. And instantly, from day dot, we've just noticed these gains, leaps and bounds. The car is just coming along so well. We started off just basically where we were, and we're just slowly putting a little bit more fuel in, and the car's responding every time we do it. We want to show them what we've got. We're just not some little privateer team from WA. We're out here to stamp a bit of our name for ourselves, and really show them we can mix it with the big boys.
So we have 5 drivers in contention here in Sydney. The final round of racing is not to be missed. It's coming up on the other side of this.
Welcome back to the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars in Sydney. Here's one fast Kiwi.
6 points in contention, 1 bad Kiwi back in the game.
Yeah, it's good. We obviously had a bit of a shocker last time at Calder, so the car's responding to the changes we make, which is the best part of it. And we've got the Red Devil next, which is going to be a bit of a grudge match between me and Shano, but it'll be fun. So coming the last round, you want to be racing for the win, and that's what we're doing.
We've got Morris, so me and Morris head to head again.
There's no think about it.
I know, we raced Sydney last year together, and I whipped his butt, so I'm going to try again this year.
The car was really strong, nearly 205 mile an hour at half track. Broke the gearbox at the 1,000 foot and went back to first gear. Lucky I caught it at 9800, so we didn't lose an engine over it. But yeah, rolled across the finish line, praying that Daniel wasn't going to go past me.
Transforming himself, the Bumblebee, into another round win contention here. You must be really, really excited.
Yeah, pretty over the moon. We've PB'd both passes. Last run we went 584 at 250 mile an hour, so at 250 mile an hour is pretty cool. So yeah, hopefully we can turn that into another podium and keep the form going.
Night has descended upon Sydney Dragway, which means one thing when it comes to the Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars.
Flames. And plenty of them. The General is out there nice and early. Cannavardis has done an excellent job in the beach bomb. Every time you play that, Shad kind of lights up with this sort of Hawaiian sway kind of thing going. Daniel Schultz in the General. And this changes things a bit too. We go into nighttime racing here at Sydney Dragway, and as you said, we now come to the most critical round, the final round, and there's, what, 5 guys can win this deal?
So 5 drivers come into this round on 6 points. We've got a couple that are on 4 points, but unfortunately, both Dan Donnelly and Fry won't be out for this last round of racing here with some engine dramas, but it does leave interesting battles through the field. Both the General and the Beach Bomb, it's not been their night on the scorecards. They come into this one on 2 points each.
Cannavardis just thrilled he's not facing Shane Olive again. Up against Schultz. This would be a pretty even battle, I would think.
Watch for the head of flames. As they reach up to the night sky, we're into pre-stage. Full stage, go!
Wow. Wow, wow. As they say, the General is out of there. Roscoe P. Coltrane couldn't catch the General in that one. Good night. Cannavardis, unfortunately, has been defused. The bomb didn't go off in that one.
Oh, big speed at the top end. So a good way to finish off the night for Dan Schultz, local boy here. Now we're getting into the action. Once again, Let's Boogie. The car's getting faster and faster.
Walsh is consistent. If I was going to pick a word for Justin, it would be consistent. It seems to be, if you slip up, he's going to eat you alive. And Messinio certainly on a tear.
Amazingly, another 2 drivers that are stuck on 2 points for the night. Winless in Sydney. Justin Walsh has been on the podium here before, the 6th ever event, when Tommy Johnson Jr. got the win at LA Hooker.
Ow. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to do the backup thing, but I'm too scared I'd stuff it up.
It's actually quite difficult because you're running into the nitro, so it hits you in the face. You just spend the whole time crying.
How about the fact that your sneakers are being ripped off your feet for that sticky racetrack?
And it's an important job because they're responsible for making sure that the drivers are lined up perfectly in those 2 big licorice strips that they've just laid down. It's the warmest, stickiest part of the racetrack. You need to have those big rear tyres exactly in the right spot.
So we've determined that I won't be doing that. Dark Horse up against Let's Boogie. Final time we'll see these cars tonight at Sydney Dragway for the Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars. Yep, down the middle, both candles fully lit, and the Dark Horse takes it a 573, just under 370 k's an hour, and a really difficult drive job for Walsh. That car was boogieing, but not in a good way. Look at that. It was messy.
Lost traction early, Let's Boogie. Did a good job to pedal it and get that thing to hook back up. We've got 2 more runs left for the night, and they are the drivers on the maximum points. Who's going to win it here in Sydney?
Paul Messinio came good for you in the final. 3rd round performance with a 573. You must be very happy with the way the night finished off.
Mate, I'm happier now. Like, what a day. It hasn't been our weekend at all, you know. You got your highs and lows, and this thing just threw some many curveballs at us. But hey, 573, we're happy with that. So all good. I don't know if we'll clinch a podium, but who knows? Who knows how this works? You've just got every opportunity in the world in the end. So that's what I love about this thing. You just don't know until the very end.
We have 2 runs left here tonight in Sydney, and all 4 drivers that are involved in these matchups are in contention for the win. We did have 5 drivers coming through on the maximum points, but unfortunately LA Hooker is out of contention here with some dramas. So Anthony Begley not able to fight for the win, which makes the scenarios pretty simple. Whoever gets the wins will be the 2 drivers that finish 1st and 2nd. Whoever lays down the quickest time out of those will be the winner of the event. It's not enough to just win, Wade. You've got to go fast.
And doesn't that show you just how competitive each time it is when you roll out? The interesting thing here is Gorsey allergic to bees? Because Donnelly has been laying it down. He's got to be brimming with confidence, this guy. Every time he comes out, he knows, doesn't matter who lines up alongside him, they could be running second to him.
The conditions and the scenario is just right for Nitro Express. They've had to change gearboxes in this car after they did break a gearbox and drop back to 1st gear. But amazing driving from Rick Gorsey. Caught it just before the RPM got too high and shut that car down. The interesting thing about this gearbox, which Graham Cowan's looked over, is it does have a slightly longer gear ratio, or taller gear ratio. So they're not too sure exactly if it's going to get down the quarter mile. If it does, it will be fast though.
For the 2nd round in a row, Donnelly is in with a big chance to take one of those awesome rocket trophies.
I just want to put this out there. This is the 4th event here at Sydney Dragway. The past 3, Rick Gorsey has won 2 of them. He knows how to get down this drag strip. He's done so many passes in the Nitro Express. He's got the experience to get the last 3 points and put a number down that'll be insurmountable for either Shane Olive or Maurice McMillan to beat. Let's see what Graham Cowan's got in store for Rick Gorsey. Can the Bumblebee go one better?
Donnelly cares little for statistics. Gorsey's a big game player. Through the lights.
Here we go. Here we go. Nitro Express is there. Oh, the speed. It's huge. Quickest and fastest ever run from an Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro funny car. That was wild.
How about the reaction time for both those guys? What, a .09 and a .07 and a personal best for Donnelly.
Yeah, big PB for Donnelly. But for the other car, Nitro Express, we've never seen a car go faster than 260 mile per hour in the old book. Now we've seen one go past that and go 264. Wow.
And that's one of the fastest passes the car's ever made.
57?
57.
PB.
Yeah,
Definitely
PB.
a PB. Yeah, no, that thing was hauling, mate. And we had a little air leak, so I couldn't really punch top if I wanted to anyway, so I held it out as long as I could.
All right, let's stand by and watch Shane Olive as he makes a final pass and see which Chev gets the top spot tonight.
Yeah, well, who else is there?
Just you two.
Oh, really?
Whoever potentially wins out of this one will be the winner of the event.
Ooh, oh gee, there's got to be some stuff going on the shop after this one.
So, got to pick things up as we see McMillan come out. He has actually won 2 consecutive rounds on 2 previous occasions. One of them was at Cairns, so it's been fairly recent. Whether he can make it a clean sweep, okay, I don't think I've seen him do that.
Well, I can confirm that one for you, Wade. He's never done that. Shane Olive's done it on plenty of occasions, and what a 12-month anniversary it would be for this car if it can park it in victory lane tonight. The scenarios now are simple. Whoever wins this race needs to go quicker than the time that Rick Gorsey just laid down, a 5:57. That's very difficult because it'll be the quickest ever time. But the other interesting scenario is, if the loser of this race wants a trophy, they need to go quicker than the 5:70 from Jake Donnelly. So either way, win or lose, go hard, go fast, be quick.
It's still got to be the simple concept of get down the other end better than anybody else, regardless. Hopefully you take care of the guy alongside you and you get that time. McMillan to your left, Olive to your right. This is everything to play for right here.
Remember that number, 5:57. Gee, they're both alive. Oh, the noise goes up for Red Devil. McMillan, does he pick his pocket? Not quite.
He ran a 50?
Of course, he's waiting.
Now, this has happened to Rick before, hasn't it, at Willowbank?
Yes.
He got his pocket picked then.
That was a nervous wait, 5:76. Not enough. Red Devil will get runner-up here today.
It went straight to the centre too, didn't it? He really got out of the sticky stuff, brought it back in. That's where he lost it.
Yeah, burst panels. At half-track, the numbers were looking good. It was going to beat the time of Rick Gorsey, maybe just slightly over-revving it. That's where you get that big flash, that explosion in the supercharger. Hopefully not too much damage, but he'll be second here tonight.
I've got my whole family here this weekend. My wife's here, mum and dad, my sister, the kids, everyone's here this weekend. And how about that black Chev, 5:57, you know, like that was going to be a tough ask to beat. But, you know, for Rocket, for Aeroflow, for Grayman Wendy Cowan, that's put this whole event on. What a show.
Out come the amazing Rocket trophies. Third place for Jake Donnelly, another podium. He gets it by just 900ths of a second.
Isn't that a great motorsport rivalry between Gorsey and Olive? Those guys go after it. They're all smiles now. What an amazing event this was.
The racing was immense. The quickest and fastest way to wrap it up for Rick Gorsey. Unbelievable stuff. We look forward to your company in the future. Come and check these cars out for real. Aeroflow Outlaw Nitro Funny Cars. Go to the website because nothing hits you in the face like a Nitro Funny Car.